This week on the Appalachian Weekly News. Locals react to the death of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Instead of people, the stands at Kidd Brewer Stadium will be filled with cardboard cutouts. We'll have more on this story.
And our furry friends at the Watauga Humane Society are getting an upgrade.
All of this and more on this week's episode of the Appalachian Weekly News. This is the Appalachian Weekly News. I'm Xanayra Marin-Lopez.
And I'm Grace Smith.
After serving for 27 years, Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away on September 18th from complications of metastatic pancreatic cancer. She was 87.
Ginsburg was known for fighting for reproductive justice and gender equality. The Senate confirmed her nomination to the Supreme Court in a 96-3 vote in 1993.
The Boone community responded with a vigil on King Street dedicated to the late Supreme Court Justice. Our correspondent Kat Fast has the story.
A candlelight vigil for Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg was held outside the Watauga County Courthouse on Saturday, September 19th. Small and Mighty Acts is a, quote, volunteer grassroots organization whose mission is to help people meet their civic potential, end quote. They were the host of Saturday's vigil.
I think that somebody like Ruth Bader Ginsburg shows us how to use our talents and to build upon those talents and build a repertoire of skills that serve us in doing community and creating the communities that we want to see in the future and helping us to imagine what a future looks like where folks have access to services, where folks have common rights, where folks have a voice in society.
She was a role model to a lot of us as someone who never accepted less simply because she was a woman. She never accepted that she couldn't do the things that men could do in law, right, which was her area. And I think personally for me too, she was a role model of someone who had integrity. She stuck to her values. She stuck to the things that she believed were right and true, and she was always willing to speak that truth to power.
For many, Ginsburg broadly stood for change.
I just wish that at some point we could get to a place in our society where we can say, I care about you, I care about me, I care about us, so let's move forward with that at the forefront of our activity.
Where I would really like to see is Americans have a better understanding of how the system actually works, because I think that would change the way a lot of people think about what we need to do and where we need to go. And understanding how the systems that we've built really don't benefit all of us as much as they should, that there are better ways we can use that help everybody.
With the Appalachian Weekly News, I'm Kat Fast.
Now it's time for an update on the COVID-19 pandemic here in the High Country. As of today, there are 109 students in isolation with COVID-19. Currently, there are no active cases in employees or subcontractors. The total number of cases has jumped to a whopping 529, with 433 cases being diagnosed in students, 26 in employees, and 41 in subcontractors.
Last Friday, the university announced 2 new COVID-19 clusters associated with sororities on campus. Another cluster in Thunderhill Residence Hall was announced just a day earlier. This brings the total number of clusters reported to 5. 9 students in Kappa Delta and 10 students in Chi Omega have tested positive within the past 2 weeks. Sarah Rankin is the president of Kappa Delta sorority. In a statement to App Weekly News, she wrote that, quote, "We are taking the situation very seriously. The safety of our members and the rest of the campus community is our top priority," unquote. The chapter is following guidelines from the Watauga County Health Department for quarantining for 14 days.
App State's 14th annual Homecoming Blood Drive took place this week. With COVID-19 still on the rise, this year's blood drive was more important than ever. Angela Powley is the Regional Donor Services Executive. She says that she appreciates the Mountaineer community for carrying on this tradition amidst a pandemic to ensure a stable blood supply. Since 2007, App State has collected more than 14,000 blood donations. These donations go to help people who need life-saving blood transfusions. App State's Homecoming Blood Drive is actually the biggest blood collecting event in the Carolinas and one of the biggest in the Red Cross. Lindsay Perez is a member of the Blood Drive Committee for the Appalachian and Community Together. Perez says that the pandemic and social distancing protocols affected the way that the drive was planned this year.
People are definitely more afraid to donate this year just because being inside with more people can be a little nerve-wracking. Our goal is about half of what it was last year. Our goal is 500 this year, and we did that on purpose just because social distancing protocols, and that's the plan that we were able to get approved.
Environmental activist group Climate Action Collaborative released a statement on September 15th demanding that the Office of Sustainability revise its 2020 Climate Action Plan. Climate Action Collaborative has gone back and forth with administration in past years to come to an agreement for climate action on App State's campus. The new plan discusses how the university will reach climate neutrality by the year 2050. The group does not support the plan, saying it has little immediate changes. Some of the demands in their statement are that the university declare a climate emergency, set a climate neutrality deadline of 2025, and a commitment to purchasing 100% renewable energy. Once the demands are met, the organization will collaborate with the Office of Sustainability to revise a new plan. Climate Action Collaborative wants urgent action towards the climate crisis.
The ability to vote in the Blue Ridge Ballroom is once again being threatened, this time by a lawsuit. Republican members of the Watauga County Board of Elections are challenging the legality of the App State's early voting site. The lawsuit comes 1 month before early voting begins. Board members Eric Eller and Nancy Owen filed the lawsuit last Friday in Wake County. They are asking that the state board stop using App State's early voting site. The lawsuit is asking for the early voting spot to move to the Holmes Convocation Center instead. Some believe this push would suppress student voter rights. Dalton George is a member of the Watauga County Voting Rights Task Force. He says the group will do whatever it takes to keep the Blue Ridge Ballroom as an early voter site. If the lawsuit is successful, the Convocation Center could become the only early voting site. Nathan Miller is the lawyer representing Eller and Owen in court. Miller says that, quote, "The general statute requires that the local board of elections request the use of a building 90 days in advance of voting, the time of voting being October 15th. Since the board didn't do it, the state board has zero statutory authority to essentially seize the building and take control from ASU." End quote.
North Carolina Attorney General Josh Stein took to Twitter to urge voters not to vote twice in a response to a tweet by President Donald Trump. Trump suggested that voters should go to the polls to check if their vote was counted and vote again after voting by mail. Attempting to vote twice in an election or soliciting someone to do so is illegal in North Carolina. Josh Stein says to instead send in your ballot early and track it online. The state recently launched a new ballot tracking system allowing voters to track their ballot from the moment they mail it to when it is approved by a county board of elections.
I checked my voter registration earlier this week and I'm good to go. What about you, Xanayra?
Thanks for reminding me, Grace. Our correspondent Scott Spickard has the story on how you can register to vote this year.
We are about a month and a half away from the election of 2020, and the Watauga County Voting Rights Task Force has been registering students to vote the last few weeks right behind me. I got a chance to talk to the field director and deputy field director to see what their organization is all about.
It's a nonpartisan organization that really just focuses on making sure students are registered to vote at their new address that they're moving to. So we operate a lot on campus and try to, talk to professors and let them know the importance of making sure students are registered to vote.
Guys, are you guys registered to vote at your current address?
As field director and deputy field director, Griffith and Stephen organize, plan, motivate, and coordinate with all volunteers within their organization. They say registration numbers have been up because of their work and the ability people have to now register to vote online.
One thing I always like to tell my volunteers is if you have enabled or you have enabled one more person to vote, you have just doubled your voting power.
While empowering people to vote, both Griffith and Stephen know the right to vote should be exercised with great care and preparation.
Make a plan how you're going to vote too. Are you going to vote early voting? Are you going to do absentee? Are you going to do election day? Make a plan and stick with it.
Stephen said the best way for App State students to vote is to register in Watauga County and, if possible, vote in person at the Plymouth Student Union so that the union can still be a voting site in the future.
Every single year, Scott, since 2014, we are fighting for that student union for a voting site. And then that begs the question, why? Why are they constantly putting up a fight?
At the end of the day, Griffith and Stephen and the whole Watauga County Voting Rights Task Force is there to simply encourage people to vote, regardless of how one votes and regardless of who one votes for.
And this is going to be a little harsh, and I'm okay with that. But if you actively want to say, I don't want to vote, and you don't have a good reason, that's a very privileged statement because you have the right to vote and you should exercise it. I don't care who you vote for. It is your right. You should exercise it.
For the Appalachian Weekly News, I'm Scott Spickard.
This past Tuesday was the first day of fall.
Let's go to our weather correspondent, Aiyana Willoughby, to see what Boone has in store for the cold months to come.
Well, Grace, it's cold now and it's going to get colder. Fall has officially begun. I'm sure you all have felt the drop in temperature and the cold chills happening at night. The rain is back and it's here to stay for the rest of the day. The humidity will be pretty high today, along with low wind levels, so be prepared to feel a little stuffy while indoors. It's going to be partly cloudy for most of the day, so don't expect to see much sun. The high will be in the lower 70s, so Saturday will be a great day to go outside and get some fresh air. It won't be very windy, but there will be raised humidity levels. Be prepared for a couple of random showers throughout the day on Sunday, but these showers should be gone by nightfall. You won't be getting blown around because winds will be light and bearable, but there will be elevated humidity levels. The start of the work week will bring even more showers. Monday, it will be partly cloudy, and showers will continue throughout the day. Temperatures will be in the mid-70s during the day with light winds and elevated humidity levels. This weekend, we're going to see a lot of rain. Tomorrow in Beech Mountain, the high will be 64 degrees with sun most of the day. In Seven Devils, it will be 70 degrees with some patchy fog in the morning, so be careful if you're going out on the road. And in Blowing Rock, there will be a high of 68 degrees, and it should be sunny for most of the day. The sun should come out later this week, but until then, grab your umbrellas and stay dry, Mountaineers. Xanayra, Grace, I hope you all have rain jackets and umbrellas because you're definitely going to need them.
Thanks for reminding me, Aiyana. It looks like it's going to rain pretty hard the beginning of the week.
I'm going camping this weekend, so I hope I don't get wet. Independent documentary films are coming to Boone with a year-round film series presented by the Appalachian Theater of the High Country. This series is called Boondocks. Executive Director of the Appalachian Theater, Laura Kratt, says they want to provide different films to fans and viewers in the High Country. The Appalachian Theater started off the 6-film series with an online screening of Coded Bias, which was shown September 20th. After each film, there will be question and answer sessions and other workshops to help viewers better understand the content. Though the online and in-person events will typically require paid tickets, Kratt says they were able to make the first showing free. Kratt says the Appalachian Theater is always looking for underserved markets and how they can provide better content to these areas. Quote, "We're looking for unique, artistic, and cultural experiences that we can bring to this community, and we feel that focusing in on independent documentary film through the Boondocks series is a great way to do that." Xanayra, I have this idea for a tattoo that I've just been itching to get.
Grace, I can't wait to see it. While getting a tattoo might not be the first thing you think to do during the pandemic, our correspondent Richard Barker shows us how you can still get inked during COVID-19.
In our new environment, Businesses across Boone have to find ways to adapt and keep bringing in customers. For some, this fits better than others. I spoke to several tattoo places about how their unique art form is affected under current circumstances.
I mean, I'd say it hasn't changed a whole lot, you know. We're kind of unable to take walk-ins, which is a little different, but I mean, otherwise, we were already cleaning all the hard surfaces. We were already wearing gloves. I mean, I guess now we wear face masks. That's a difference, but otherwise, I mean, you know, we constantly keep stuff clean. We clean up in between every client anyway.
This sentiment of business not really changing that much was echoed by several other tattoo artists. Noble Tattoo's owner Allison Fields describes a similar situation.
I mean, we've been clean the whole time anyway, like washing our hands constantly. Before and after each client, we have to do that anyway. The only thing that's different is, you know, whenever the client comes in, they have to hand sanitize, and we take their temperature. I don't know if everybody else does that, but we do because we have high-risk artists.
There seems to be no lack of customers either. Despite the situation, both Speakeasy and Noble Tattoos expressed they had plenty of appointments. A recent customer, Daria Drobnik, describes her experience.
It felt pretty like safe, like they were really taking into consideration the situation of everything going on, and it was definitely on my mind, but it went pretty much like I've gotten tattoos before, and it went very similarly to the way things were before. So
Boone residents in the market for a tattoo can call in an appointment at both Noble and Speakeasy Tattoo Company. And from the sounds of things, it should be a clean and safe experience. For Appalachian Weekly News, this is Richard Barker.
If you're a fan of the outdoors and fresh fruits and veggies, be sure to check out the Watauga County Farmers Market. It is open Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Horn in the West, May through November, and has been serving high country citizens and tourists since 1974. Not only do patrons get fresh produce, but they also get to listen to live fiddle music. Many vendors of the farmers market have been attending for many years. Susan Denny, for example, has been selling her produce at the farmers market for 10 years. Amy Fielder has been coming for 11. She says she comes every Saturday, from the first Saturday in May until the last Saturday in October. The mission of the Watauga County Farmers Market is to encourage and promote local agriculture, horticulture, value-added and craft industries in Watauga County and adjacent areas.
The Game Father in Boone Mall is working to satisfy the high demand for video games with GameStop's recent closure. The Boone location, because of complications, closed with the store's landlord and the broader closure of other stores around the world. Pre-orders for both the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X are available at major retailers like GameStop, Walmart, and Target. The Game Father specializes in retro video games and doesn't have the resources to guarantee both systems by November. Game Father staff say they have been trying to be more involved in the community. They also said it may be until 2021 before the Game Father and other small retailers are able to get their new gaming systems on their shelves.
This week we celebrated the first week of fall, but it is also a good time of year to look at the moon. Boone is no stranger to beautiful landscapes or beautiful skies. This is one of the reasons why the Mountaineer Skywatching Club took to Sanford Mall to celebrate International Observe the Moon Night this week. According to NASA, International Observe the Moon Night occurs when the moon is in its first quarter phase, the best for observation. Adam Bryant is the president of the Mountaineer Skywatching Club. Bryant says the organization wanted to share the wonders of the cosmos.
Out here in Boone, and I've just been wanting to get people with telescopes out here to show people sights of the night sky like the moon, Jupiter, and Saturn, and just share the wonder of the cosmos.
Now we go to Jason James for an update on App State athletics.
What's going on this week, Jason? I know the Mountaineer football team faced a big upset last week against Marshall.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Xanayra. Pretty unusual week here in the high country, especially from a football aspect. The football team suffered their first loss of the season Saturday to Marshall by a score of 17-7. App State drove down the field on their first possession of the game and scored, but the offense went cold as far as scoring points is concerned. The game was full of penalties and mistakes on both sides of the football for both teams. After the game, head coach Sean Clark said, quote, "I'm proud of the way we competed, but we can't afford to keep shooting ourselves in the foot," unquote. After scoring on their opening drive, the Mountaineers did not get close to the end zone again until 4 minutes left in the game. This is the first time the Mountaineers have scored less than 10 points since 2013 when they lost to Georgia by a score of 43-6. App State will host Campbell this Saturday at the Rock at 12 o'clock in the afternoon in hopes to get back in the win column. With the Camels coming to the High Country this Saturday to take on App State, the Mountaineers open up as a 98% favorite to win. Campbell currently sits at 0-2 with losses to Sunbelt rivals Georgia Southern and Coastal Carolina. The Mountaineers sit at 1-1 on the season with a 35-20 win against Charlotte and a 17-7 loss to Marshall. Senior offensive lineman Noah Hannon was asked what the team needed to do in order to win this week, and he said, quote, "We got to go back, look at tape, do better next week, and fix what we messed up on," unquote. Definitely excited to see how this one plays out. After their first win of the season, an App State football player posted an offensive photo on his Instagram account. App State tight end Mike Evans posted a picture with a Club Lit sign that Charlotte uses after winning games but left in Boone after their matchup last year. Several members of the Mountaineer football team were using inappropriate hand gestures. Head coach Sean Clark released a statement after the post was made and said, quote, "This is unacceptable and does not represent the values of our football program, our athletics department, or our university," unquote. With fan attendance not allowed during football games through September, the App State Athletics Department is giving fans the opportunity to purchase cardboard cutouts to be placed in the stands for football games. Our correspondent Allie Powell has the story.
Since physical attendance at home football games is unavailable due to COVID-19, the App State Athletic Department is creating new ways for the fans to support their Mountaineers. Now that Kidd Brewer is empty on game days, the athletic department has given fans the option to purchase a cutout that will be placed in the stadium. Sophomore Logan Jones speaks on how she thinks it will affect the atmosphere of game days.
I think the cutouts are a great idea because it shows our support for the football team even though we can't physically be there. And I also think it's great that all the proceeds go back to the student athletes.
The first game you can see the cutouts in the stadium is on September 26th during the home game versus Campbell, but fans are able to purchase a cutout throughout the season. Sophomore Carly Billups comments on what other things App State Athletics can do to create a positive atmosphere for the players.
I feel like if it was possible, I guess, to get recorded messages from students and fans, cheering them on, maybe to play on the big screen before they started the game or something, whenever we have home games or something like that. Because then it's almost it's live recordings, so I feel like that'd be more personal and have a better effect, I guess.
There are different package options when ordering a cutout. Fans can order the standard option for $79, which will place the fans' cutout throughout the stadium. Also, fans can order the premium option for $99, which includes TV visible priority placement, and the chance to receive the cutout after the season. App State students, season ticket holders, and Yosef Club members will be offered special discounts. All money from fan cutout sales will go towards supporting App State student athletes. During this challenging time, the App State Athletic Department is encouraging all fans to support the student athletes that wear the black and gold. For the Appalachian Weekly News, I'm Allie Powell.
Max Renfro is the football team photographer and videographer. His Week 1 uniform combo video that he made ended up getting national publicity and posted on ESPN's Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram pages. Renfro filmed receiver Thomas Saniye coming up from under the water at Trash Can Falls. The uniform reveal video has received millions of views. Keep up the great work, Max. With many athletes not able to participate in organized sports here at App State, many students have started playing club sports. Our correspondent Abigail Watkins has the story.
With the restrictions that COVID-19 has put into place, people have found it hard to hang out with their friends. This has been seen all around campus concerning club and intramural sports. But now that some of these restrictions have been lifted, these students can begin practicing with their teams.
Appalachian State University offers a large assortment of different club and intramural sports that students can participate in.
This is a great opportunity for students to make friends and become involved on campus. While in years past, these teams would have started practicing the second week of classes, due to COVID-19, they are just now able to meet in person.
So, so obviously we can't play any games. So that's the biggest thing that got changed. But we actually recently had our first practice this last Wednesday. Club sports has been working really hard to try to be able to get all of the clubs out there and being able to do stuff. So this next Wednesday will be our second practice, and Thursday will be our first dry land. So we'll go out to State Farm and, run circuits, do that kind of stuff.
While the team is excited to get back on the ice, they are unsure of the different regulations they will have to follow due to COVID-19.
We have certain policies that we have to follow for App State and for the rinks that we go and play at. So there's different sort of like wearing a mask and, being spaced out in the locker room. But when it comes to playing real games, I don't think we're going to know any of those until, games are actually going to happen.
For more information on club and intramural sports, visit urec.appstate.edu. For the Appalachian Weekly News, I'm Abigail Watkins.
That's going to be all for sports this week. Another week of sports is in the books here at App. Xanayra and Grace, let's hope the football team can get back in the win column this weekend. Back to you, ladies.
No, I'll be rooting for the Mountaineers, Jayson. Thanks for the update.
And now it's time for your High Country High Note. Xanayra, I don't know about you, but I really miss my cat back at home.
Well, Grace, I actually have been looking to adopt a pet.
Well, then you're in luck. This week for our High Country High Note, I had the opportunity to visit the Watauga County Humane Society to see about some of our furry friends and some new developments. Let's take a look.
Humane Society has a new project in the works. They are building fear-free kennels for their dogs, which will help get some of these puppies out of the shelter and into their forever homes.
The COVID-19 pandemic allowed for this project to go underway because the Humane Society had fewer pets in the shelter. According to the Humane Society's Director of Operations and Animal Welfare, Ashley Apez, the kennels are being built by Aiolas, a company that creates custom pet products.
Like many other kennel companies, they are able to custom design kind of whatever our vision is. So they have kind of their standard kennels, and then they have, the flexibility to kind of work with us on what we envision our dogs needing.
The Humane Society decided to build these new kennels to keep them up to code and to make them more comfortable for the dogs. With the old kennels, there were wire bars that dogs could jump into and injure themselves on. The old kennels were also worn down due to the age of the shelter, according to Yapez.
Our facility's been here for about 9 years. When we first moved in, we had to do some flooring changes to be kind of up to code with state inspection. The kennels that we got were, purchased 9 years ago and have been really great so far. We get in about 2,000 animals each year. Since we've really become no-kill, since we've implemented trying to work with dogs that have behavior issues, they spend a little bit more time with us while we kind of work with them. So oftentimes what happens is in this environment, it is not a natural environment for a dog or a cat to be confined to a small space. It is not home. We are aware of that, and we try to make it as much home as possible.
The new kennels are going to be fear-free. This means that the kennels will soothe any anxiety and stress that an animal may have. A new feature to these kennels is that it will be harder for the dogs to see any other animals in the shelter, hopefully causing them to bark less and appear more adoptable. Yapez also said they are switching their cleaning product to a fear-free product.
We wanted to implement some new things in our organization that help provide a fear-free and stress-free environment for the dogs, because over time the harsh chemicals have worn down those kennels. They've also stressed out the dogs. So we've switched our cleaning product over from bleach to a product called Rescue. It's an accelerated hydrogen peroxide, and it's also more gentle on cleaning equipment and on kennels, in addition to being a fear-free approved cleaning product for animals.
The COVID-19 pandemic was a stressful time for the Humane Society, but they continue to look for silver linings by building these kennels and by keeping adoption open. Sarai Nolasco recently adopted a cat from the Watauga County Humane Society. She said taking home a furry friend is as easy as ever.
The process of adopting a pet hasn't really changed that significantly during COVID. The Watauga Humane Society has done a good job of kind of adapting. You have to call ahead and make an appointment and kind of have an idea of the pet you want to adopt. And so when you make your appointment, you go in and you get to know the pet that you want to adopt, and you can see if it's a good match. And also, if you're not 100% sure you want to adopt, you can also do the foster program where you take a pet home for about 2 weeks and see if it's a good match for your home and a good match for you. And then if so, then you're obviously you can follow through with the adoption.
The project cost $147,000. The Humane Society received a $45,000 matching grant, but most of their funds will have to come from community donations, says Yepez.
There's super easy donation links where people are going to be able to donate and have a part in creating a better just environment for them. One thing that we've always just been told is how happy our dogs are, and we're super fortunate to just have such a supportive community in Watauga County.
To donate to the Humane Society, you can visit their website or visit their Facebook page. Now, if you'd excuse me, I'm going to go play with some puppies. For the Appalachian Weekly News, I'm Grace Smith.
That's a report this week. I'm Xanayra Marin-Lopez.
And I'm Grace Smith. For all of us at the Appalachian Weekly News, thank you for watching.
Happy fall, y'all. We'll see you next time.